would understand why it would be, given the margin. But the way South Carolina played tonight, they look more than ready. Sarah Strong buries this three on the way to a 22-point night. And then Paige Bueckers. 5 years, the knee injury, it's in the rear view, and the present is all about what she's doing at the moment. It was the defense that really carried the day in that first quarter and first half. You see Bueckers, and there, Azzi Fudd, speaking of injuries, she's overcome all of that. It's Bueckers. Bueckers goes for 16. Fudd had 19, by the way. And UConn in complete control from the very beginning. The defense set the tone, and the first ever and largest win ever in the Final Four. Geno's team knocks off the #1 overall seed. And Geno Auriemma, we meet again, sir, and thanks for taking the time to visit with me. I'm trying to remember when it was, and I can't recall. Somewhere along the line, you're kind enough to humor my texts, and I said, I really like your team, and I think it's going to be great come spring, and you felt the same way. Is tonight kind of what you had an inkling of what they might be? Because this was a hell of a night.
Yeah, Scott. I always thought it was going to take some time. All these kids that haven't played in so long, and certainly not together, and then you're adding Caitlin Chen and Sarah Strong, and you're out there starting 2 freshmen, and you're like, this is going to take some time. And I just had confidence and faith that at some point, in March, I said we're going to be a good team in March. But I don't think anybody prepares for something like this. I don't think anybody thinks we're going to go out there and we're going to do this in the semifinal game. That wasn't part of the plan. But I got to tell you, every single kid that stepped on the floor tonight played about as well as I would expect them to play. And it was really a joy to watch. I'm incredibly, I don't even have words for it, to be honest with you.
That's a first. That's a first, Geno. You can't. Well, listen, when you're going up against Lauren Betts, who's a singular force, one of the best players in this sport, and I felt like that first quarter and that first half, your ability to stifle her, and I don't want to say it won the game, but you tell me, how critical was that effort on that end to winning tonight?
I've always thought when you make a decision as a coach, you're gonna have to live and die with the consequences. And after the fact, if you made a great decision, everybody goes, it's a great decision because it worked. You don't know this going in, so we made a decision. We're gonna play her one-on-one for most of the game, and whatever she gets, she gets. We just have to work, really, really hard on everybody else. And I didn't think that we'd be that effective because she's so hard to guard one-on-one. She's, like you said, a singular force in college basketball. But Jenna put the stamp on it right away. This is how we're going to play. And just, I think, set the tone. Her and Azzi pretty much just started the game. This is what we're going to do, and we were able to sustain it for the whole 40 minutes.
Folks that love this sport, I think we're maybe hoping to see what we're going to see Sunday. You don't have a ton of time between now and then, but when you put on the tape of that win, Ryan Ruocco was mentioning on the broadcast what you told him about that game. You made every shot. They missed a bunch of shots that could have changed the game. But Geno, you won by a lot. So when you look at this tape, what gives you and your team the confidence that not by 29, you only got to win by 1, but what gives you the confidence you could do it again?
I was just saying that probably the most disappointed person leaving Columbia that night or that day was me, because as I'm getting on the bus, I'm like, I don't know what everybody's celebrating about. We're going to have to play these guys again in March. I got a feeling.
Right.
So, that wasn't the real South Carolina team that we played. And don't get me wrong. We played a spectacular game. We couldn't have played any better. I don't expect it to go that way on Sunday, and I think South Carolina is a fantastic team, tremendous team, a lot of experience, guys that won a national championship last year. But I'm just happy to be playing in that game, and I think we'll have some confidence. They'll have a chip on their shoulder, so it should make for a tremendous game.
Last quick one, Geno. There have been a lot of these through the years where maybe you have a pronounced advantage in terms of being familiar with what comes with a night. Dawn knows what this is like. So does her team. What do you lean on when you're talking to your team about what you know about what comes with Sunday and what they'll face that you can help provide them with some guidance?
You know, one thing I said to our team before the game today was, you know, this is our 24th Final Four. And we've won 11 of them, and we've lost 12 of them. I said, I've got a losing record in the Final Four. I said, but when people introduce me at some place, they don't go, hey, this is Coach Auriemma. He coaches at UConn. They've lost 12 Final Fours. I said, nobody talks about the games you lost. They just want to talk about the games you won. So let's not worry about anything other than let's go out there and try to make some winning plays. And whatever happens, happens. You know, you can't prepare somebody for something that they've never experienced. You just have to have faith that, you know, they're just going to keep doing what they did today and the rest of the season. And if it's good enough, then we're going to be national champions. And if it's not good enough, then we just shake their hand and say congratulations. But anything more than that, you're going to be your own worst enemy.
Right on. I'm going to be like everybody else at home watching. I don't have to work. I get on a plane and go down to Augusta. They got a little golf tournament next week I get to work at. So I'm just going to be watching.
Man, I'll trade places with you. I'd rather be in Augusta Sunday than here. I got to believe me.
I don't have any out-of-timeout plays that are going to work, and you can't call golf. So you do your thing. I'll do mine, Geno. Good luck Sunday, all right? I appreciate you.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate it, man.
Welcome back, ladies. D, last year you and me pissed off a whole state, I think. Let's try not to get anybody in trouble tonight. I think it's going to be a little easier conversation because this UConn team, and I was just talking to Geno about it, that first half, their defense, and either of you can take it, I felt like that set the tone and that won this game. What'd you all see?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it before the game. You know, Connecticut is always undersized. We never had that huge post presence. We always liked playing with smaller posts that are very versatile. And I told Sue, and I mean, she knows this, we've gone through something. I was like, they're going to pressure the wings, they're going to three-quarter front and have heavy help. And it happened over and over where UCLA just couldn't figure that out, and it turned into transition over and over for Connecticut.
The first game, and obviously we're focusing on the game we just followed. We're going to show South Carolina's highlight in a bit. But, I mean, I feel like this South Carolina team, and we can get to what happened earlier this year, but what they did tonight, that felt like the best version of them after they had some tough games against both Maryland and Duke. Sue, what did you see from Dawn Staley's team tonight?
Yeah, a little bit of a bounce back. I think you made a good point. Their regional wasn't great, more so on the offensive end, but that's what makes them tough, right? Like, they're going to play good defense. They're going to attack you inside, and they're going to grind you down for 40 minutes. And then when the offense starts to come, like you saw tonight, that's what makes them a problem. So if we see that in the finals, it could be interesting.
I get what Geno's doing. He's mad they won by 29. No, you're not. They went in and beat them and end a 71-game winning streak, and they do it decisively. But, you know, Dawn gets to put that tape on and fire them up. What from that game, if anything, do you all believe kind of translates to Sunday? Anything similar that we might see from that game where UConn won decisively?
It's going to be a completely different game. Whatever that game was, you know, back in January, it's going to be a completely different game. I mean, both teams are playing in a different way, a different style. So whatever happened in that game, whatever you thought you can take and, hey, maybe we'll go back to that, that's not going to be there. You know, just like Maryland. It's not here right now. Kind of like that.
Oh, there you go. I understand. I see what we're doing. Paige Beckers, I feel like she gets a chance to walk off appropriately given who she's been to this game. And what I loved about her tonight, ladies, is that the only time I saw her expression change is when she was cheering for the reserves that came in late. She's a killer. I see you knocking Sue. You notice the same thing? What's that say about her and that team?
They have a different vibe about them this year than we've seen in the last 4 years. And that's saying a lot, right? So this is a team that has gone to Final Fours. Paige, Holly Rowe made the point. Paige, you were in the championship game your freshman year, and now you're back your senior year. But there's something different about this team. There's a looseness. There's a vibe about them that it feels like the struggles they've gone through, they can kind of put that behind them. And now it just feels like their time in a way, and I think that's what you're seeing in Paige. She just seems just focused. Even her interview with Holly, like I said, just super straightforward. This is what it has to be. This is what we got to do. let's do it. And that can be dangerous.
Right on. You can't ask for anything more. Dawn in South Carolina, a chance to win 3 or 4. Geno, a chance to get 12, and a revisit of the game from earlier this year where UConn won by a bunch. San Antonio. We showed you how UConn rolled the biggest margin victory ever in a Final Four game. They won by more than 30. This is a pair of 1 seeds, the Texas Longhorns in South Carolina. They run it back for the 4th time. Texas early on. Madison Booker and the Texas squad up 6. Malaysia full Wiley. An assortment of buckets. Gamecocks down 1. Tahina Paopao in rhythm. Give me all 3 of these. South Carolina in front. Tied at 33. Paopao again. Clean look. Wrong person to leave open. South Carolina leads by 3. Second half. That is when Dawn Staley's squad put their foot on the gas. Bree Hall, cookies, and hits the deck, and Dawn Staley enjoying a laugh because it wasn't a laugher by any stretch, but how about the freshman, Joyce Edwards, 13 and 11. You got freshman on freshman. Edwards is strong. Then it's Paopao. Family loving it. Early 4th, 10-point game. Paopao had 14, and it ends up being a 74-57 victory. Dawn Staley trying to grab the nets for the 3rd time in 4 seasons.
I'm just happy. Like, we work hard for it. Like, we know when you've been to a national championship game, when you've been to a Final Four, when you've won a national championship, you know what it takes to get back there. I just want to tip my hat to Texas. Vic's done a great job. Our conference prepares us for this. Any one of us could be here because we force each other to play well and to fight through some things. And if you can win some and get lucky, you can find yourself in the Final Four.
This title game's set, and when you've played each other as often as these teams have, we know your sets, you know ours. You can call them out, and we're going to just have to execute. Second half, it's all South Carolina. What stands out about how they executed in that final 20?
Honestly, Scott, what stands out is we have to give some credit to Texas. Madison Booker got into foul trouble. Texas started out great. Madison Booker got into foul trouble. South Carolina found their offensive rhythm, which is what we haven't seen from the Gamecocks. And once they found their offensive rhythm, they started to flow from there. And my favorite part about the Gamecocks is they didn't look backwards and they didn't slow down. Joyce Edwards, to me, gets the highlights of the night because Joyce Edwards is a freshman. She has led South Carolina in scoring all season long, but the last few games, SVP, she has struggled to score. She's been held to single digits. We had meetings with the team, and she told us, I'm going to come out of this. I'm going to turn the page. She spoke this into existence and then performed at a high level in the biggest moment. So South Carolina got what Dawn Staley said was missing. Consistent play from the bench. Their starting guards shot the ball very well, and as always, they hung their hat on defense. So it was a very complete performance, especially in that second half to get the win.
Manifest it. There's a power in that. UConn, meanwhile, speaking of defense, they slapped it on UCLA in the first half. They had 22 points. And, they didn't look back. Geno, first time I've ever had him on, he said, I'm speechless. I said, that's never happened. That's how well they played. And if he's speechless, hopefully you can fill in the blanks. What did you find most impressive about what they did to a great and overall 1 seed?
The dominance of it. Honestly, I'm usually a players analyst. I love to give credit to the players, and they did show up and play. But the game plan of Geno Auriemma and the way that he coached this team and had them prepared to execute was phenomenal. This is a UConn team that came out ready to go. It looked like they knew exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted to make life as hard as possible on Lauren Betts. They knew she was going to score. Jana L. Alfie was physical with her. They threw different looks at her, made life hard on Betts, and didn't give any other UCLA Bruin anything else. And you can't say enough about Sarah Strong and AZ Fudd. I talked about Joyce Edwards for South Carolina. Sarah Strong is a freshman, led UConn in scoring. She's so poised. She has such a high basketball IQ. AZ Fudd shot the lights out of the ball. This was a complete UConn performance. But to me, it was the game plan, the way they changed their defenses, the way they switched it up, the way they controlled the pace. They controlled every aspect of this game. Forced turnovers, scored off of turnovers. I could keep going because it was that dominant of a performance. The biggest win we've seen in Final Four history. In the semifinals or in the title game, there has never been a margin of victory this big. That's how great UConn was.
We have time for a short sentence, unfortunately, and not a ton of time. It was a blowout when these two teams met. Dawn Staley gets to play the underdog role here. Vegas says they're underdogs in this game. Do you believe they are?
I do believe that they are underdogs in this game because of what happened before and because of the way UConn is playing and getting production from their big three. So I would go with yes, but I will say it won't be a blowout. I could say that.
I believe you. Sunday, 3, ABC, I beg your pardon, Andraya Carter. Look forward to watching. Thank you for your time as always.
Thanks, Scott.